Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second episode of Sal Code, weekly series. So, you might be asking, why do I already have my video pulled up? And don't worry, it's not just because I want to like show off, hey, check it out, check out my previous video, none of that. It's to talk about how bad it was. Uh, I didn't intend for it to be that long. I'm pretty sure I said that in the video that it stretched out way longer than it should have. But if there's like one thing that I wanted to talk about last video is that I forgot to mention two very important factors. That I already have two semi-decent goals already in mind for progressing into the future. And that would be to use the JavaScript to create a website and also to now complete the Odin project. If anyone was wondering if I decided to go through with it, last week I decided to go into the Odin project, and that's where the title of the video comes from. But before I start talking about the Odin project, it would make sense for me to talk about what I learned in regards to YouTube for this next video. So as you can clearly see, I now have myself on the top right and showing my screen. And I will be doing that from now on in order to showcase any sort of things that I learned via the Odin project, or especially things about coding. Going forward, this will be the norm. I only did the first style for the video, for the introduction video, and that's going to be the last time I do that. Especially because of that black spot, which was a big mistake. Eventually, I may or may not fix that in the future, but we will see. Another thing that I would like to do before I start talking about the Odin project is give a shout out to my first commenter over here, Eddie T. Thanks for leaving a comment, man. In the future, maybe I might remember that as like the first person that left a comment from my video, and it'll make me proud. But now, without further ado, I'd like to talk a little bit about the Odin project. Now, before I start talking a little bit about the Odin project, I would like to say what was my progress last week learning a little bit about code. Now, obviously, I didn't expect this journey to be a lightning fast speed journey. I would expected that, especially as I get started, it would be a very slow burn and it would take me some time to get used to it. And it's definitely taking me some time to get used to it. I haven't retained much, and that's mainly the reason why I decided to just jump into the Odin project, is because I need a little bit of that structure, I guess. I watched those long videos talking about JavaScript, and I tried coding a little bit, but not much of it was retained. So I decided to jump into the Odin project to help me learn faster. But then I became very, well, I was going through I guess I would say what I've done so far of the Odin projects is everything until the coding. I haven't gotten to the coding yet. It's been mainly just introductions and explaining things about like the process of becoming a web developer and what I should expect. So I guess in this video I will be talking mainly about what I found interesting about the introductions of the Odin project, and something interesting that I learned about the progress, like the progression of what it's going to look like as I become more of a software developer. Now, this is one of the things that I found most interesting, was this concept over here where it shows, I'm sorry, one second, where it shows this graph, and it shows the hen holding honeymoon, the cliff of confusion, the desert of despair, the upswing of awesome, and job ready. Now that sounds like a bunch of gibberish, but let me explain what this means. Hold on, let me enlarge it real quick over here. So basically, from what I understand, is that as I start, my confidence and competence will be just like a straight rise. So like that yellow graph is supposed to represent my confidence, and basically it's going to start going up, and then I'm going to hit a point where I'm going to run out of easy tutorials and stuff. And like I see that a lot of websites online and YouTube videos and stuff like that, they all put it into different ways. I also seen it being called tutorial hell and similar things like that. But basically, from my understanding, is that for beginners, for complete beginners, there are tons of tools, and that's what it means by hand-holding honeymoon, is that there's resources everywhere for you to start, but eventually you're going to hit a point where you already kind of already know all that stuff, but you still don't really know how to code it all, and you're gonna like your confidence is gonna hit an all-time low because you're gonna have a hard time trying to figure out where do you go from here. And from what it says over here about what to do once you hit that desert of despair is that you're supposed to just write it out and just stay focused and keep coding and like keep yourself distracted, keep doing projects, keep looking up how to resolve whatever problem you run into. But the number one issue is that I won't have any direct guidance from like once I hit that desert of despair. It's really just up to me to just keep going until eventually I I pull it back up and start actually being able to do things. Now, another thing that I like to talk about that they emphasized a lot in the Odin project in the beginnings, and I also saw online on YouTube videos, is the concept of knowing how to ask the right questions. Now, as you can see over here, there's like they're talking a lot about like being able to ask the right questions, because something that I learned is that as a software developer, I'm gonna be confused a lot, especially during that stage of the desert of despair. There's gonna be a million and one things that I don't even know how to ask. Now, something that I learned that I don't want to fall into is asking the wrong questions. Uh, it's regular for software developers to not ask pointless questions. What I mean by that is that we're kind of just expected to know how to use the internet and like know how to use stuff like ChatGPT and Google to find the obvious answers to everything. And when we're asking questions, like things that I'll be asking the Odin Project Discord and like that kind of thing, is that I need to be asking context specific things that I can't find easy answers online, those kind of things, and I have to learn how to do that. So we'll see if I learn how to do that. Now, as I said a second ago, I'm sorry. Um, I will be joining the Odin Project Discord. Now, last week I was having a lot of issues joining the Discord. I'm not exactly sure what was wrong with it. My invite, like the link that they were given in the website, just wasn't working for me. But I tried it yesterday, and for some reason it just worked. So now I have joined the Odin Project Discord, and I will be using it as they say in this in their introduction to like ask questions, and like hopefully they will help me out. I'll try not to be too stupid with my questioning, like how they say, and like be context specific and be reciprocative and not be a little whiny baby. But I'm hoping that it will help me out quite a bit. But like I said earlier in this video, I was getting quite. Last week I had a hard time concentrating because I was getting a little bit, I want to say, bored, because it was giving me a lot of stuff like this, like introduction to the internet and like what is a router and like what is a network, what is a web server. Now, I understand that the Odin project was meant for everyone, and so I should not be surprised that it includes these kind of things. I I know that like don't have to force myself to watch these things, but I want it to be really thorough. And I guess I'm just glad I put them behind me, and now that I can focus more on the coding aspect. But yeah, there's a lot of, I would say, redundancies in the Odin project, well, redundant depending on the kind of your level of knowledge about the internet and web development. But yeah, and I would like to, this will be the final point that I will be making for this video, is that another thing that the Odin project has firmly recommended for me to do is to install a virtual machine. Now, for my classes, for when I got my associates, I had already installed a virtual machine before. I had Ubuntu, and I was not a big fan of it. Now, they stress out quite a bit in over here when they're talking about Linux and Ubuntu, is that a lot of people will ask if it's possible to do it on Windows, and I guess they were getting like too many questions because their response seems a little bit like passive aggressive, like, no, we're not going to make it so that our program supports Windows, stop asking. I will probably, the way I'm going to go through with it is that I will keep on using Windows and just code editors and see how far I can get that way. But if I have to install a virtual machine, I will. I'm not averse to it, but I will be trying to stick to Windows. I've heard online on YouTube videos that there are people that stuck to Windows and they made it work for them. Now, obviously, I don't know what I don't know, so we'll see how it goes from there. Okay, and that would be pretty much everything I have to say for what I did last week. Now, I know it's not a lot, but as I stated before, I expect that my process of getting used to this will be a slow burn at first, and hopefully by next video, I'll have more to say in regards to the Odin project coding wise. Maybe I'll have built a little bit of JavaScript that I can show you guys. But yeah, that would conclude the second video of Salcode, and everyone have a good day.